All right. The best laid plans don't survive contact with the what? Not enemy, but opponent. This new system is not set up quite right yet. Too many last minute adjustments. More about that later on. Hello, everybody. Let's get an AVDW check. Yes, Chris, I did mute you. That was a mistake that the waiting room was not enabled. So I've enabled the waiting room. You're still in the session, but I've got you muted because when you said hello to me, I think that went over the video and that was not intended. Oh, typos in today's broadcast. Doug's brother, seven finger stand. Not quite sure what that's after. Now, I got my buttons and my scenes are all set up different now because I did something that some of you were wanting me to do, and it's not all set up yet. You might have noticed there was no countdown during the Google Earth because I realized when I went to turn that on that I have not reinstalled that yet. Tony and Ida says AV DVR are good. The watch is on the table. And the microphone is also a different setup now. I didn't ask you about this last week, but it's on the desks here. And I think there might be a lot of desk noise that comes over that microphone. And I have not listened to last week's video to see if that's the case. This is a better position for the microphone to get a better quality audio, but anyway, we'll see where that goes. So
I'm going to see if I can get the dog in. I was trying to get him in before starting. So,
well, Chris, we're already started, and you just broadcast that comment over the live stream. Apparently, you've unmuted yourself. Oops, yeah. Go ahead and mute yourself again until I ask you to come in. New glasses. You noticed, Zvi? Yes. These glasses are supposed to be less reflective. So when I go back to my other glasses, I think you're seeing a little more reflection in my eyes. And as I was changing the studio around, I thought those lights up there were going to be more in the glasses. That didn't turn out to be the case. But anyway, but yeah, they're different. Oh, I see buffering. Did anyone else get buffering right there? Now, let me try one of my buttons. Let's see. This actually isn't on the buttons yet. I have to go to a scene. Let's see where this goes. That goes to the video. Here's the chat. And Zoom is on screen there. So Chris, your video is on, but don't unmute yourself yet. I'm going to go catch up a little bit with chat. Scroll back up here on chat. I've got 3 monitors now for the Big Beast build, and I'm still trying to get used to them. But here's Tony Wallow comes in with a $1.99 contribution to the channel, and Tom K also for $2. Thank you so much, both of you. There's a lot of chit-chat going on back and forth. There's some interaction with Chris about the troubleshooting situation today. And I have questions for Chris. Perhaps other people do too, and he may have more information for us. I think I've read through this stuff off before starting the video, so I'm not going to read it all into the video. But Chris has given us a little more information in there. There's some the comedy stylings of Blackwatch in there. Scanning through, and if I miss some comment that somebody thinks is significant, just go triple click on it and then Control C for copy and then paste it in as a new comment and hit me up in orange. Blackwatch is still on about that $2. He really thinks he might get that someday from me. Good luck. Yeah, let's see. Oh, and you know of the multiple Dougs around here. Well, now we have multiple Chris's. Because Computers ETC is Chris, and he's also been in here this morning with his alter ego. Let's see, can I find it here? Yeah, Chris Garrett. So Chris Garrett and Computers ETC, not one and the same, but two of the same. Just like there are multiple Dougs, there's multiple Chris's now. That's all we need. What else do we get here? I think that's caught up enough. John Lewis says hello from Brazil, and Choris I'm trying to make this up. Joris, I don't know how to pronounce it. Verheil says he loved the video with Harry. I'm kind of specifically looking at the ones that aren't in blue, as they may be new people. Jonathan Frazani, hello, and there's Joris again, and Oystein says hello to everyone. Let's see, who else do we have that is in black? Welcome aboard and say hello to. I think that was all. All right, and come back down here. So I'm going to switch over to Chris now, kind of figure out which button. This one labeled Zoom should bring us up. There he is. So Chris, you can unmute yourself. And let's see if that works. And now you have to speak in order for us to know that you're unmuted. Yeah, all right, good. So there's another new thing that I bought this week that was hopefully going to help with the weird audio that happens when somebody's talking over Zoom. We know that if I use a headset, that'll cut that out. And this is a Bluetooth. It's a bone in conduction or induction, whatever they call, and it sits like this, actually in front of my ear. But I can't get it to work with Big Beast build. It'll show up in the Bluetooth, but it won't actually connect and put audio through it. Baby Beast, it'll work and put audio through it, except in Zoom. It doesn't work in Zoom. So that doesn't work at all. So what I want to do is go for a little while with the regular audio here, and then I'll try going back to this headset and have you guys tell me how that sounds. That headset I don't like because my ears get sore. All right, Chris. Well, there's been some chit chat going on in the chat room with additional questions for you, and I think you were still trying some things. There's quite a lot of stuff that you have done. I have some specific questions. Before I get into my questions, do you have any further update?
Don't. All that other than when I plugged it in earlier, either yesterday or the day before, when I put that 7, I swapped the CPU from my other tower.
Yeah.
This one's been off. I don't know. It might have been the day before yesterday. It's been off. When I turned it on this morning, it had like 8 beeps.
Yeah.
No, it has 16 beeps. I'm sorry.
16.
It never does 16.
Well, not never. It has done that today, but it hasn't done that previously. And you also said something. There was some inconsistency because the first email I got from you said there was 8 beeps, but then your videos were showing, I think, 4 beeps.
Yeah, it varies. I'm sorry about that. I just reminded me. I'm sorry about that. But it needs to do what it wants. Yeah,
well, the word that I want to put onto that is inconsistent, because anytime we have an inconsistent symptom, then that broadens the troubleshooting procedures.
Yeah, you got all these big words.
Okay, hey, I just got a text from Aaron saying that they can't hear you. So let me work on figuring out why. I'm hearing you. That's coming over Big Beast build. And there must be something about this scene is not bringing in your audio. Okay. Oh, is it that they can't hear you at all or can't hear you well? Oh, too low, really quiet. Okay, well, that makes me go a different direction then. Checking. There's the microphone, and your audio should be coming through the application. Let me think this through. Default stream only audio. Device settings should be here. System audio and default speakers. Well, let me try this simple solution first. I'm going to turn up the volume on my speakers.
If it was my problem, you wouldn't hear me. It was on my end.
Yeah, well, I just increased the volume on my speakers. So if that's being picked up by my microphone, then that should say that it's coming through better. But I really want it to XSplit to be picking up the audio through the application window. And I'm waiting.
Let me see if I can find iPhone headphones. And
I don't
try to see.
No, I don't think you need to change.
It'll be directly in my ear. I won't be able to tell anything probably.
I don't think you need to change anything on your end. Really don't, because I hear you just fine. No, okay, so yes, Kenny and Jonathan say it's better now that I turned up the volume on my speakers. So apparently, XSplit is picking up your audio through my Blue Yeti microphone. And then he says we're both at higher volume now, but if I put my headset in, that means you're not going to hear Chris at all. Let's try that. If the audio is being picked up through the Blue Yeti, that's not a good thing. Which side is which? I think that's right. Yeah, that's right.
They said we're both higher volume now.
All right. I don't know what I did that would have made my volume higher. So this might cut Chris out entirely. Let's find out. Okay, Chris, go ahead and say something. That's something a Doug would do. Are you hearing Chris at all? He said the word something. In chat room, let me know if you heard Chris say that. I'm guessing you're not hearing him at all. I totally rebuild all of my XSplit. So Jim says no. Oyston says perfect, 0 volume on Chris. Yeah, so they're not hearing Chris at all. Although he only said one word. Chris, go ahead and say a little bit more. Oh, I'm surrounded by Dougs. Now, I know there's a way that this comes through the application. That's good. Yeah, I'm not seeing it right offhand, so I'm just going to go ahead and go back to what is working, because apparently the audio was okay. All right, so let's see. Chris, go ahead and say I really like Doug's channel.
I really like Doug's channel.
As long as he's going to repeat whatever I say, I might as well make it a promo. All right, are you hearing Chris again? And there's a little delay, of course, before we see a response in chat. And let's see. Yeah, Chris. Oh, that's from Chris. Josh says good. Yes, yes, yes. All right, we'll just go with that. Now, where were we? We were talking about where you're at now. Yeah, I kind of feel like I'd like to review the whole scenario that led up to this, because some people that are going to watch this video in the next few days aren't tuned into what's been going on with you at all, and probably haven't read the description of this video. So let's go look at the description of this video. I got to go set up my monitor number 3 to show the description that I have. And that doesn't really cover everything, because it doesn't cover what's in your videos. Then I'll go press here and then go to monitor number 3. Nope, monitor number 1. There it is. Here's the description that's below the video. Here's the video up here. And if you scroll down below, we have, let's see. Oh, that's weird. It's got me in the picture-in-picture facing away from the text, but that's all right. So the first email I got from Chris, this is just a portion of the email, what was significant. It started with a red light. Sometimes there'll be blinking white power light, but most of the time there's nothing on the screen. Now let me stop right there. Most of the time there's nothing on the screen. Is there ever anything on the screen anymore?
No, it's never been nothing. It's never been.
There's no.
Did I put most of the time? I meant to put never.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You said most of the time there's nothing on the screen, so you're not even getting a manufacturer logo on the screen.
No.
All right. Now, one of the handicaps here is that this is an all-in-one. So the screen behaves a little differently than an external monitor, because an external monitor, when you turn its power on, you should at least get a logo of the monitor before it even tries to show a signal from the computer. But an all-in-one, not necessarily the case. Maybe you have an idea. You can read below the things I've tried. My next thing is put new thermal paste on the CPU and GPU. Yes, it has a GPU. It actually has a removable graphics adapter, and I suspect that the CPU does not have integrated graphics. So when you pull that card, you're not going to get any video signal at all, I suspect. I don't think there was any hope at all that replacing thermal paste was going to fix the problem you're having. Because
it wasn't.
Yeah, no, it didn't. And that's in a video where you actually do that. Then HP 8300 all-in-one is what AIO stands for anyone that doesn't know the abbreviation. I purchased just to play around with and use it as a second desktop. It has some issues. Now, I want to remind people that you have 2 HP Elite 8300s. One of them is a tower and the other is the all-in-one. It's the all-in-one that we're having the trouble with. 8 beeps and a red light, and as we now know, it's not consistently 8 beeps. Things done to it before the issue. So it was working when you got it. It was functional. It had a 500 gigabyte hard disk drive. Windows 10 Home was unactivated. There were a few drivers installed.
It was.
A few drivers installed. I'm not quite, was that to imply that there's a few driver exclamation marks in Device Manager?
I can't remember exactly. I know the touch screen wasn't installed, and HP don't have a driver for Windows 10 for the touch screen, but there are drivers for the touch screen.
Okay, maybe actually what you're saying here is that you installed a few drivers after you got it. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think the video driver was installed at all, though.
All right. No, that's all right.
I think they just installed Windows 10 and just shipped it. Just to show it on the sale.
All right, sure. Then you say you took the 500 gigabyte hard disk drive out and put in a 500 gigabyte SSD. You used the original recovery DVDs. You place that you have a place that you order HP disks from. Okay, fine. So that was the original recovery DVDs that were for that model computer.
Yeah, not to get online with Windows 7. I just wanted to make sure.
All right.
The
So that's fine. The software that comes with it, fine, and then do an upgrade from there. So you knew the DVDs would reinstall Windows 7. You wanted all the software that's pre-installed, wanted the touchscreen to work. I was told this was the best way to upgrade from Windows 7 Professional to Windows 10 Professional to have everything work. So you apparently, when you bought those DVDs, they confirmed it was Windows 7 Professional on those DVDs that were original.
It did.
That originally came on this computer. All right.
Yeah. It's the original. I guess HP sells their old disc.
Right, they do.
To this company called Computer Surgeons.
All right.
If anybody ever needs an HP recovery disc, I mean.
Yeah, I've done that before too. Not so much since Windows 10, but yeah, I've done that in the past. On the original install Windows 10 Home on the hard disk, the touchscreen did not work. Fine. After a few weeks and running HP Diagnostics all night, I set on loop until error. The next morning, there was no error. I upgraded the 500 gigabyte SSD to a 1 terabyte SSD. I had everything working I wanted to take a look at the original 500 gigabyte hard disk drive, so I cloned it with the Cronus to the 500 gigabyte SSD. The 500 gigabyte SSD is now a spare. Okay, let's clear that. You cloned from the 500 hard disk drive to the 500 SSD. Yes?
Yeah, I did.
And then in the
next hard drive, from the original hard drive to the SSD.
In the next sentence, you say the 500 gigabyte SSD is now a spare.
Yeah, it was a spare. I can't word things right.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Just to clarify what you mean here, the 500 gigabyte SSD was a spare. Therefore, you cloned it from the 500 gigabyte hard disk drive, right?
Yeah.
And your intention then was to run the computer on the. What was that noise?
I'm sorry about that, Doug.
All right. So your intention was to then use it with the 500 SSD. After attempting to boot, after the clone, I got a blue screen of death. I don't remember what the error was. Seems like an inaccessible boot device. I cannot remember. From there, things went downhill. I cannot remember what caused this red light error. Maybe after working with the drive a little, then changing the CMOS. Okay, I want to stay in this moment, in this area, because this is where the problem occurred. Everything else after that has failed to fix the problem. But this is where the problem occurred, and you don't have real clear recollection of what happened then. And this is one of the things that is commonplace, and with me too. When you first encounter a problem, you don't take pictures and make notes because you're not aware that this is going to become a big deal. You think you're probably going to get past this pretty quickly, and so you don't get to capture that. Now doing a clone of the hard disk drive, which we know was not an activated Windows anyway, so it was probably done by the vendor of this computer. And then when you actually, let's get back here. After using a few weeks, this is with, at this point in time, you had the 500 gigabyte SSD was working for a few weeks. Is that right? Chris? You're muted, Chris.
Yes, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so it was working on the 500 gigabyte SSD for a few weeks. Then you upgraded to the 1 terabyte SSD, and it still worked. And then you turned to the original 500 gigabyte hard disk drive from the vendor that you bought it from and clone that with Acronis to the 500 gigabyte SSD. Okay, and that's where we have the problem. After attempting to boot after the clone, blue screen error, can't remember what it was. Seems like inaccessible boot device. Things went downhill. Cannot remember what caused the red light error. So now a very basic, simple question that you may not have included in here because it may have been obvious. You cloned from the original 500 gigabyte to the 500 gigabyte SSD and had the problem. Did you then put the 1 terabyte SSD back in and see if it would still work? Chris?
I think I did, Doug. I can't remember. I've done so much.
Yeah, I know you've done it. You've done a lot. Now, when I get into a situation where I'm doing a lot, I start making notes and making videos of everything I do along the way. But then even that is hard to go back, and you are difficult to keep it in your head. So, do you still have the 1 terabyte SSD unchanged from when it was working? You're muted again.
I'm sorry. I actually got it in the other tower, in the tower. HP. I should have left it like that, I guess, but I got it in the HP Elite tower.
So, and it doesn't have the image that it had when it was in the all-in-one?
It does not, but I have a backup of it.
Oh, all right. So you have a backup image of the configuration of the 1 terabyte drive when it was functional. Yes? Muted?
I guess I'll just stay on. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have one, but before, I'll have to look and see.
Yeah, because what I'm focusing in on here is just going back to the point where the trouble presented and then trying to reverse that piece right there. It doesn't quite make sense that could get it back functional, but the whole scenario of what you have right now doesn't make sense.
I got a backup from 3/10/22.
I have no idea whether that...
I'm not sure. That was after the problem.
Yeah, so you don't have your backup labeled clearly as to what it was a backup of?
No, I got to find my external drive and see if I can see if I have it on my external drive.
All right. All right. Then let's go catch up with chat. I got other questions, but we'll go catch up with chat. So to do this, I'm going to go to this over here. Number 2. There's chat. Oh, it's V. Look at that. How kind. We love Doug Channel also, he says. Now, oh, I can't scroll on that screen. I have to move over here. This is going to take a while to get used to. Now, okay, this is where Chris's audio was quiet. So I'm kind of scanning through a little bit, not going to read through everything. Some comment about there about lip reading. And always a pleasure to watch. Doug from Neil. Thank you so much, Neil. Thermal paste, red herring. I'd agree on that. According to Google search, 8 beeps and red power light indicate corrupt BIOS. Maybe Windows Update whack the BIOS. Yeah, certainly a possibility. Also, maybe some of the things that Chris did with the jumpers that we haven't talked about yet could be that. But keep in mind, it's not consistently 8 beeps. And also, when I did some Google searching, all the comments I saw with the red power light was talking about blinking red power light, not solid. the light is solid. Is that right, Chris?
That's correct.
And is it still sometimes white?
Sometimes it is white.
All right. DDT 2005. He used the DVR. Thank you. Appreciate that. Instead of coming in and asking questions that have already been covered. Wouldn't be the first time that's happened. Not sure what that was referring about. Anything on the broken node cable? Oh, that's between Blackwatch and N. Ida, when he says 500 gigabyte is now a spare, is installed too. Yeah, no, when he said it was a spare, that's the reason why he was cloning from the hard disk drive to the 500 gigabyte SSD. Currently, the 500 gigabyte SSD is in the all-in-one computer. Is that correct?
No, the hard drive's still in there.
Oh, the hard drive is in the all-in-one. All right.
Yeah. I was going to ask you something.
Go ahead.
Do you think if I still got this? This is the one that I cloned to.
Yeah.
And do you think there's an error log or something on this drive that we might have to look at if we could get to it? I got this right here. I can hook it up to it.
There could be an error log, but all of my attempts at looking in those has been complex to get it sifted down to anything usable, and then it just wasn't really very usable. I'm thinking that you probably have to have a fair amount of experience and more knowledge than I have to really pull out something useful out of it. And because the symptoms are not consistent, I don't feel good about us going down that road.
Okay.
All right, but good question. Yeah, agreeing on possible BIOS issue.
I did fail to mention that I did put this 500 gig in that same, it's the same model of HP Elite. I did put this in it booted. So.
Oh, the 500 gigabyte.
I did. I could take the hard drive out of this all-in-one, and I could put it in that HP Elite.
Yeah.
And it will probably boot because the clone drive booted.
Okay,
it didn't fail to boot, so
that's
something
good.
must have went wrong.
Okay, that's good to know. Blackwatch, it's always a pleasure watching Doug. Oh, I haven't heard anyone else chime in. I don't know if anyone's waiting in Zoom. Then
Jim posted my post on HP forum.
Okay.
He posted a link to it.
Yeah, I see that there. And then
that's actually my post.
That's your post. Well, that's a link.
I posted on HP.
Okay, well it's a.
But
that's when you entered a question on HP's.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but there's no update on it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'd like to go look at that. John Lewis, this channel has been informative for me. I have a 2013 Dell laptop. I just corrected a slow shutdown by running check disk and system file checker. Both found errors from a fresh install last year in drivers. Easy. Great. Catherine's here. Hello, Catherine. And Alex Cheek, I'll bring you in a minute. I know you're in the waiting room. I want to go bring this up just to show where you asked your question. And that's on screen 1. Let's turn off the picture-in-picture. This is your post, right? That I'm showing on screen now.
It is.
Power's on, nothing on screen, just a red power light. Sometimes I get 8 beeps with a white light that flashes. It seems the 8 beeps and white light blinking happens after it's been unplugged a while, maybe after power is drained. Not sure it is allowed, but I have a YouTube video on the issue. And then you've got a lot of text here about what you've done.
Basically the same thing.
Basically the same stuff we've already talked about. And you have not yet received any reply here, and you put this on March 5th, so 7 days ago. All right, then let's go bring Alex in, and then I'm going to turn off the waiting room so anyone else that comes in can get straight in. Let's do that. Then I got to switch over to the Zoom window. Participants, admit Alex and turn off the waiting room. And it looks like Josh is coming in as well. All right. Hello, Alex.
Hello. How are you today, Doug?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Just been waiting on you to start.
All right. And then let's see. So Josh is coming in. Oh, wait a minute. He's still stuck in the waiting room. I guess he probably came in before I completed turning off the waiting room. So this will bring Josh in. And he's connecting. I'm going to punch back over here to where chat.
Hey, Doug.
Hello, Josh.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Did
you get my email?
Yes, I did, and I sent you one earlier today with a link for you to easier to set up the remote connection. Did you see that?
Yeah, I haven't.
All right. So looking some more at, let's see, Catherine's reminding everybody to like the video. Thank you, Catherine. And some hellos back and forth. And then hoisting, welcoming John Aloy. All right. Now, one of the questions for you, Chris, in one of your videos, you were describing and demonstrating resetting the BIOS, and you were describing then that as holding down Control B while you press the power button, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, in that video, I noticed you actually were not holding down the Control key, you were holding down the Windows key. Did you catch that?
Hold on. Let me try. I probably might have been just that video, but let me try.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been just that one piece. So
let me plug it up. That might help. I plugged it up so the power would drain for a few hours.
All right.
Let's actually see what happened.
Doug, I did get the email. I clicked on the link. Is that the?
Okay. Oh well, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I wasn't ready for you to do the link. Let me go take a look. You're not showing up there yet. Yeah, I have to be ready to receive you for that.
Okay. I'll wait till you let me know.
Yeah, let's do that after we're done with Chris.
Hello.
And Catherine. Hello, Catherine.
Hello, Doc. Hello, everyone.
I was going to say good to see you, but I'll say it's good to see your name.
Because I'm hiding.
That's okay. That's okay. You know, that's all right. I always prefer for people to come on with their cameras, but I know you're not always anybody. It's not always ready to do that. You're welcome to come in because it helps to have your voice. Because you guys know that I can't keep up with chat and do things at the same time. So to have people in the Zoom session, even if it's audio only, is helpful, especially if you will watch the chat room for me.
I try to help you, and you know that.
I do know that. And
I know sometimes I'm not the most patient person.
Yeah.
Based on this earth, but I really try to help.
Yeah, I know that. And I know when you do get impatient, that I know to not take it personally, but it's still It's kind of one of my trigger buttons, so I sometimes show some frustration with that.
Hey, Doug.
But I know it's all good. Okay, yes.
I just pressed it. I don't know if anybody heard the beat, but I just did Control and B, and it did like 3.5 beats. I say 3.5 beats because it wasn't as long, but and it shut off. I'll power it back on and see what it does.
Now, hang on a second, when I saw the instructions about using the keyboard method of resetting BIOS, there was an indication, and it might vary from one model to another, that you're expecting to see something on screen in regards to resetting the BIOS. So I don't, and you didn't mention that, so be watching for that. And I'm not sure if there's some other instruction right after doing the Control B and power button. I do find that you could do a search on this procedure and get a varying different instructions at different places. And it's ideal to get the instructions from HP documentation rather than from a forum. So with that much said, maybe somebody in chat will, in their research, might see that. Somebody needs to go hide Brooks Rios from the channel. Just don't hide the comment, hide the person from the channel. Anyone that's putting in those oddball websites, and we're just not going to take any time messing around with them.
Thank you for giving me my. Thank you for making me part of the blue crew.
You're welcome, Josh. You're welcome. And so BH Ringer took care of that. Thank you. All right. Where are we at now? So you were about to try turning it on again after doing the Control B power button. Let's go ahead and see what happens there.
Just a red light. I don't know if you see it on the video or not, but just a red light.
Now that red light comes on instantly.
Yep, and if I keep it on, the fans will start getting higher.
Hey, Chris, I'm wondering if the RAM is feeding properly.
I've reseated it.
Yeah, he has reseated it, but this solid red light, when the computer's operating normally and you press the power button, is that solid red light a normal feature on that computer? I'm imagining you probably weren't paying attention to that when the computer was working okay.
No, it's usually white.
It's usually white. Okay, because that comes on so quickly, one of my suspicions is the power supply. Now that probably has a power brick.
No, it has actually a supply inside. You can see in the manual that has a actual power supply. And there go the fans. I don't know if you hear them or not.
No, I'm not going to bother with trying to hear the fans. So the power cable that plugs in the back, is it a normal computer power cable?
It is.
Okay, so it's where's my camera? One of these, right?
Yeah. So other people have suggested the power supply.
Yeah.
And I'm tempted to see if I can find one.
Yeah, I saw others actually replacing the power supply in a tower computer to solve this problem. The power supply that's in an all-in-one, it's different. Obviously, it's not a standard power supply. The possibility that it went bad while you were fussing with all this stuff, I mean, it's possible, but certainly our suspicion is what was happening with these changes you were making. Now, because of the way you represented that you don't remember the details very well of the like the blue screen, but are you certain that you're remembering the time frame correctly? Meaning the first blue screen happened the first time you tried to boot off of the 1 terabyte SSD after having, no, excuse me, the 500 gigabyte SSD after having cloned it from the hard disk drive. Am I repeating that right?
I may have it wrong. I may have the time frame wrong.
Okay. That is, it's better to say you might be wrong rather than us, locking in on that. Okay. Then go back and look here at chat. I just bumped my microphone on the table in chat. Could you tell me if that made a weird noise? All right.
I couldn't hear anything.
Catherine. Yeah, but Catherine, you weren't listening through the YouTube video, were you?
No.
Yeah, so it has to be somebody listening through the YouTube video to respond to that. All right. Josh, I'm going to mute you for a moment while you've got something else going on there. You can unmute yourself when your background noises are over with. Now coming back here, let's see. John, hello from Virginia, 32 degrees, rain and snow. Yeah, I heard some people are going to be having snow on the East Coast, Southeast. And Blackwatch, just think we do. I'm all right. Rest of the world works for me. I never know, Blackwatch, whether it's going to be a helpful comment or you're just jibber jabbing. There's a link to.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Blackwatch too. Yeah.
I didn't understand that, Josh. Try again.
Not really a big fan of Blackwatch people. I talked to them a couple times in Zoom. I'm not too thrilled with them.
Okay, well that's okay, but I'll ask you not to be saying that kind of comment because that's not nice to actually be saying. That's okay if you have an opinion on it, but we don't need to be saying that out loud. Okay.
Okay.
And by the way, I do like Blackwatch. I just sometimes don't know if it's worth reading what his comment is. It's not on point. It's not on point. There's a link, Oystein, there's a link to the service manual from Paul in HP Community Case. The service manual might have some procedures for troubleshooting. Yeah, I think we've all looked at that, Oystein, but I'm going to go ahead and make you a moderator here so that you can paste a link like that, because I'm thinking I've seen enough that says you're helpful. Hellos, nor yes, it do. I don't know what that refers to.
Someone got the audio.
Yeah, that was Gary. So Gary, I've muted you until you're ready to unmute. I heard something about 495 PC and audio. I'm not sure what that's referring to. Maybe that's when I asked my question about did they hear me when I bumped my microphone. Blackwatch, that's smart. Yeah, thank you for taking that with humor, Blackwatch. Some hellos. All right. Where are we at? What are we gonna do? Chris, one of the things that you did that you I think mentioned in your videos, not in the text that we looked at, is when you had the computer opened up, you'd taken out the CMOS battery, and then there was some wire that got into a place where it shouldn't be, and when you put the battery back in, it sounded like maybe the wire was shorting across the battery or somewhere else.
Yeah, but I don't think that affected it any. I mean, it was just laying over the wire, and there's no pinch in the wire. So.
All right, was it a shielded wire?
It was a shielded wire. It's just one of the wires that run up. It's either I don't know. It's one of the wires.
Okay. But that was after the problem symptom, correct?
Probably this wire right here, if you see it on the camera.
Not that far away. We don't need to see it.
Okay.
Unless it's easy to show. If it's easy to show, then sure.
It's probably, hold on, probably that, can you see that red and black wire right there? It runs up to up here. And
Well,
actually, that's not it. But it's one light there.
Okay, your camera's moving around way too much, and when you
Yeah,
use your hand to point to something, your hand is blocking the image. So it's better to hold it still and describe to us what we're looking at. So I see a red wire, red and black. Is it twisted red and black?
It is, but that's not the wire unless it goes down and goes up.
All right.
The wire I was talking about was black and yellow, I believe.
Okay, so your camera's pointing a little too low for us to see the area very well. There, that's better.
I'm not that good at it, but
yeah.
Hey, Doug?
Yes, Gary.
Got a quick question.
Yeah.
A little late, obviously. I was reading in the notes you put down that there was i7-3770, and some way or another there was an i5-3770.
There's two computers that have the same model name. One is an all-in-one and the other is a tower. And he actually swapped the CPUs between the two computers.
Well, we have a problem. I can't find an i5-3770 from Intel.
Okay.
So we might not have a compatible chip.
Okay.
Well, that definitely. Oh, sorry. I would say that definitely could cause problems.
Okay. Are you up to?
It's actually the same model.
Well, it's the same model computer, but they have different CPUs.
Actually, that was only my second one. Compaq and HP. HP bought Compaq in 2003, which I remember because at the time I had Compaq computers at work, and they didn't support them very well. And the low-end computers are still made at Compaq plants until they went out of business in 2013. The HP without Compaq on it was a different model, but they might have the same model number. So the HP 8300 that you guys are pointing to is an HP. The HP 8300 Compaq is not the same computer or motherboard.
All right.
So
Gary, both of them are HP Compaq Elite 8300.
So they both are Compaq, okay.
Yes.
If they're not Compaq, then they're not related.
All right.
They're related.
Then I was kind of correct. As long as they say Compaq both, then they are Compaq.
Okay.
If they don't say Compaq, they are not.
Hey, Doug.
Yes, Josh.
Is HP owned by the same company or is that different?
You said, is HP owned by the same company or is that different? I don't quite understand the question.
Is HP owned by Compaq or are they a different company?
That's
Charlie Fiona bottom.
HP owns Compaq.
Okay, that's what I meant.
For you old people.
Yeah. So Compaq doesn't do computers as a separate entity anymore, do they?
Yeah, they do in Brazil.
Oh, they in Brazil.
I think in the US they're selling like tablets.
From what I understand, but you may be right. But I understand all 2022 is done in Brazil for some reason, legality-wise.
Okay. Kenny in chat asked what was wrong with the original CPU, and I think their answer to that is nothing. As far as the actual CPU chip, both of them work in the HP Elite 8300 tower computer. Is that correct, Chris?
That's correct.
But neither of them work in the HP Elite 8300 all-in-one computer. And maybe I should be saying HP Elite Compaq 8300, because they're both HP Compaqs, but let's accept that now, and I'll stop saying Compaq.
They do probably have different motherboards.
Oh yeah, certainly, because they are different computers. They're called HP Elite 8300, but one's a tower, one's an all-in-one.
But the CPU worked. When I put it in that tower, the i7 from this all-in-one,
Yeah.
it did work in that tower, so it is compatible. And I run the diagnostic on it too.
Yeah, I have no.
I let it loop until error, just like I did with this.
But does the
Before
i5
before it
work?
messed up.
Does the i5 work in the all-in-one? Is the question.
We can't answer that until we get a bootable all-in-one.
It should work. I mean, it was working in the tower. I don't know.
Yeah,
Where did you get the i5? That's the question. Seriously.
I got the i5 out of the all-in-one.
No, the part number
3770.
for the i5.
That's what's right here on this that was what was in the manual.
Oh,
3770 is also in the manual on the all-in-one.
so you didn't actually read that number off of the chip.
Somebody could have traded it a long time ago.
I couldn't read it off the chip. It's too little to right. But
Okay, well, you could take a close-up photo of it with your phone and then zoom in on the photo.
yeah.
Or use a magnifying glass or whatever method. But yeah, I wouldn't trust the number from.
It says on the manual, it says 3770, 3.4 gigahertz, 8 megabyte L3 cache.
I wouldn't trust that because you didn't buy this from HP as a new computer. You bought it from some vendor that we know they at least had a Windows 10 Home unlicensed. So we know that was something different they did. Now I think it's likely that it's the same CPU, but do we care? I don't. It was working. Now, Gary, are you aware that this computer was working for many weeks?
I didn't know many weeks, but I know they booted up, and as we went through this on another channel.
All right.
I think something's loose, and I'm not sure about a PCMCIA slot for the Radeon card. But you and I both know back in 2003, it's probably, if it was a PC, it was probably a PC card slot. Because that was the 90s.
Can I please ask a question?
Yes, Catherine.
It seems we seem to talk about two computers, yes?
Yes.
The all-in-one and the mini tower or the small form factor tower, correct?
Yes.
So which product number does the all-in-one have? The product number?
I think it's the product number that I've got in the description.
You got it.
Description of the video. It's in the description of the video, this live stream video. The product number is there.
But that's small form factor, or that's the all-in-one?
That's the all-in-one.
From what I read, the all-in-one uses a ultra small form factor motherboard. Because HP's got several.
Chris, where did you get the manual at?
Found it on HP.
For the DK, or did you get the mini tower?
Do what now?
You actually have a manual for the all-in-one itself?
I do.
I wasn't finding it.
Me neither.
Can you post a link, Chris, for the all-in-one manual?
Doug, did you find it?
Hold on. But let me pull that up.
I did. Let me come over here to, let's see, which monitor do I want? This one, number 1. I saved some links in my bookmark here. Yeah, I think this one, manual. Let's go see. I'm not sure that, yeah, here, the maintenance service guide, all-in-one business PC.
Can you please put it in the
in
the chat doc, please?
Yeah, I'll put that link in chat.
Okay, you got it, Doug.
Yeah. Josh didn't understand that. Try again.
No, I was reading back on my computer. I'm fine.
Oh, all right. Yeah, so that I put that link in chat. And then looks like Oystein may have also.
Yeah.
Is that coming out for me? That's weird.
So.
Close. Oh, Chris, there's another quick question, not to interrupt anybody. Did you take the CMOS battery out, unplug it?
I did. I changed it.
Okay, how long did you keep it out?
Kept it out for like a couple of hours.
Okay, that's good. And did you push the power button for 60 seconds?
I haven't pushed it. I could try that.
Now,
Well, you're supposed-
let me clarify. When you had the CMOS battery out for a while, was the computer unplugged from power?
It was.
And I say that because I noticed in your video some of the work that you seem to be doing inside the computer, it was still connected to power. And so I want to be sure that with the CMOS battery out, it was not connected to power during that time, and then hold the power button down. There is also a clear CMOS button on that motherboard, and somewhere along the line you mentioned that you did push that button.
Yeah.
And I think there's a procedure for that too. It wasn't just pushing the button. Did you use the procedure that was in the manual for that?
I did.
All right.
Did you ever end up hooking an external monitor to it?
I did.
It didn't happen.
Yeah, and Doug mentioned he's not sure if it had Intel graphics, but I think it does.
Okay, but one of the things in your video, it looked like you connected the external monitor while the graphics card was removed. How about connecting the external monitor while the graphics card is still in place?
I haven't tried that because I thought they was onboard graphics, but I have not tried that.
Yeah,
That is a good idea.
yeah, I believe that the external port on that computer, it's probably HDMI, is dependent upon the graphics card. Even if the CPU has internal graphics, that doesn't necessarily mean that it gets routed out to the HDMI port. It might, I have no idea. But I would prefer to have tried the external monitor while the graphics card is in place. So you don't know if you've done that. Are you pursuing that now, maybe?
Yeah, I'm going to look at it. I'm going to actually look at my TV. I'm sorry you hear the sound.
All right, I'm going to mute you then while you're doing that.
Okay, let's see here. I'm going to actually hook it to the TV. Let me get everything situated. A minute. Here's the cable.
So your TV has an HDMI input port?
It does.
All right.
That way I don't have to mess with my other monitor. Am I muted? Okay.
No, you're not.
I don't have to mess with my other monitor.
Well, yeah, okay. That would be all right if it works, but if it doesn't work, I don't really trust doing it to a computer, because if you're connecting to an external monitor, if it detects you should be able to see your external monitor give a power on splash screen of its own, some kind of a logo or something of its own, and then try to detect a signal. But you're not going to get that same step, I don't think, from a TV. But if it works from the TV, then that's irrelevant.
So you think I should try this monitor?
I'd be a whole lot more comfortable doing it from the monitor, and with
I can move everything over to this monitor.
And with no adapters, meaning it's HDMI to a native HDMI cable to HDMI.
All I got is this all-in-one that has display. I got a display adapter.
Display port. Oh, you have an adapter. So
yeah, that's display.
The all-in-one has the only video port, external video port for it is the display port. Yes, and your monitor there does not have a display port input, correct?
It does not.
All right, so you're going to have to convert.
Actually, hold on now. What was the question again?
does your external monitor have a display port, or is it only HDMI?
Oh, it's display, I believe. I think it's only display.
Well,
Because it goes on the computer to the display port.
okay.
So
Well,
I get what you're saying now.
yeah.
I'm thinking backwards, Doug. I'm sorry.
Okay. So ideally,
I gotta unplug this from the. I guess the Doug, I'm confused and don't know what I'm doing.
yeah. That's how we flow. That's how we roll. Told you I'm not.
Maybe.
I told you I'm not good with sayings. Jonathan, you can bring some coffee back for the rest of us.
I gotta be careful because I don't want to pour the Ethernet cable out of the. It's got a clip broke. You'll lose me if I do.
All right.
Okay, now that's plugged up to the monitor. I think I tried. I think I might have did try it with the graphic card in, but I'll do it again. It wouldn't hurt.
All right.
Nothing's on the screen.
Hey, Chris.
Yep.
This is Gary. I know I am so wrong, but I'm going to say it. I'm looking on the kind of the flow chart they got going into the thing, and it says if equipped with a voltage selector, back by the power, the power goes into the all-in-one. Sometimes they have the 115 to 230. You know, switch back and forth if you're in Europe or something. There's a little switch there.
Where would that be at?
Probably where the power supply goes in, where the power cable goes in.
That's a good point, Gary, but something could have got it. No, I don't see no switch.
Okay, it'd be real little, like you could stick your finger in it or something.
I don't see no switch.
Okay, well, it says in the model that it has one using the thing Doug sent it to put in chat, excuse me.
That was in the manual, Gary?
Yes, sir.
What page?
120, hold on, 129.
And that's the manuals, page 129, or Adobe Acrobat's 129?
Oh, no, it says, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be smart. 129 at the bottom of the page, solving power problems.
All right. All right, I'm going to bring that up. Hello, Jeff.
Hello.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey. Hi, Jeff. Hello. Hey, Gary.
Yes, sir.
Doug, I do see something, and I'm not sure what it is, but. So, can I say something, please?
Go ahead, Catherine.
This is all in one. It has a motherboard,
Yeah.
or that is called 6577097-001. So this board accepts an Intel Core i7-3770. Yes.
Okay.
So, but he's not sure which CPU he put in. I can send you the CPU list for this board if you like, or I put it in. I'm sure which CPU. It's the same CPU.
Well, he knows it has the CPU that the computer came to him with, that it was working.
Is that what's in there?
But he hasn't confirmed the model number of the CPU by looking at the markings on the CPU. I don't see why we'd be too concerned about that because the computer was functioning.
Yeah, but he changed the CPU, didn't he?
He swapped them and then he swapped them back. Did you swap them back to original state, didn't you, Chris?
I have not swapped them back.
Oh, you haven't. All right.
Exactly. So it can take the Intel Core i3 3210, 3220, 3240, the i5 3470, 3570, and the i7 3770. That's the CPU list for this board. So because it's a 1155 board, yes.
Yeah. I think, Chris, it's not it's not 100% confident that because both CPUs work in the tower that they would both work in the all-in-one. I don't think it's safe to assume that. I think you should swap them back and try to have everything as original as possible to reduce the number of variables. But I know that's going to take longer to do than probably going to do right now. Now, if that's indeed is the case that you're going to swap them back to original, I think it's real important that you actually get the markings on the CPU itself so that we can gain confidence as to what CPU is in there. It feels a little bit irrelevant because the computer was working, but because of the mind of a troubleshooter, which you have a bunch of us here,
Yes.
we like to have all the details hammered out. And
not all motherboards can accept the same CPU.
yeah. Yeah, so it is possible that the tower computer can handle both CPUs, but it's also possible that the all-in-one might not be able to handle the CPU that came from the tower.
I understand that, yes.
All right, so let's
that.
get back to as original as we can. Now,
I wasn't at first, but now I am. Now I understand.
okay, so I see Javi has explained his comment here about this. Come on, I'm dragging my mouse across 3 monitors. Yeah, so he gave me that link and I didn't understand what to do with it. And he explains, download the file. It's a picture of the CPU type for the computer. And Annie mentions that it's why he asked, why did he swap the CPU? I think Chris, you can confirm this. I think he swapped the CPU just because you want to see if the CPU in the all-in-one was functional.
Yes, that, and I was just gonna forget about it. I was gonna just forget about, not even fix it. But since I got an email from you, I decided I'll just give it a chance.
All right.
Another chance, yeah.
So here I'm going to go to both of Javi's links. Let's see, this is the one for downloading the picture, and then this one is this other one about, the specifications for this all-in-one. I had not seen that yet. So downloading this, fast download, slow speed. All right. Continue to download. File size 54. Proceed to download WinZip. This looks clickable here. Download.
I wonder where the
Well, it's sure making me jump through a lot of clicks.
I'm here, John. He refers to me as Professor Doug.
Oh yeah. I didn't quite hear Josh's comment because I was focusing on what I was trying to.
I prefer him.
Oh,
Professor. But in my phone, I put him in with ABB.
Okay, I realize I'm going the wrong direction. Fast download, 50 megabytes. Simple pricing for everyone. NTF, that's an advertisement. Storage space. What's going on here? I must be clicking on the wrong thing. Before your download starts, I'm going to back up one level. This is the picture. Free download, fast download. Implying fast download is not free? All right. I know, well, I'm not interested in signing up for something. There's the picture. that came to one of my other screens. Drag that over to this screen. When ordered. Okay, so this is showing the processors that work for that computer then. All right. Let's close that one. Let's close this one. And this was the specifications.
Can you show the processors again?
Go back here. Whoops, not there. Here. Whoop, no. Where'd the picture? Oh, the picture is in a different window. Here. There. There are those the processors you're asking to see, Catherine?
Yes, yes. Because I have an idea. Look at the processor for the all-in-one. Yes.
Yeah.
It says here Intel Core i3 2120. Yes.
Yeah.
And then 2130. So these two are second gen processors. Yet the 3770 is a third gen processor.
Right.
So I think what he needs to do is change the CPU spec to the original PC, and then to check if he is up to date with the BIOS, and maybe he has to do a BIOS update because the 307070 may not be accepted by the older BIOS.
Agreed. Agreed. Of course, he can't do a BIOS update until he gets something on screen.
Exactly, but in order to get something on the screen, change the CPU back. Yes?
Well, in order to troubleshoot it, because the original CPU in the all-in-one is where the problem originated.
Yes, but the original CPU at the moment is not in the all-in-one.
Yeah, so we need to get it. Yeah, we're all agreed, I think. We need to get the original CPU back in the all-in-one and then troubleshoot from there.
But it was not working before I changed the CPU.
Yeah, we know that. We understand that. We understand that. But you've introduced an additional variable by swapping the CPUs. It was okay to swap the CPU to see that the CPU that was originally in the all-in-one is functional, but it needs to come back into the all-in-one.
I got you. I just have to be careful because I got big hands and I don't want to mess anything up.
Well, I don't think you should try doing that during the live stream because I want you to not be distracted when you're doing that.
Do it in your own time, so you can take a lot of hours to do it. Yes. Yeah. Because when you're stressed, sorry for the expression, shit is happening, and you don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
Yes. I got you.
That's good. Okay.
And I won't do a video or I won't do a live stream. I'll just do this off camera.
Well, I don't know. It could be useful for you to have your camera running, but don't worry about publishing the video because you may wind up publishing it later, but just don't strain about the video. And the only reason I say that is because after you're done 2 weeks down the road, you might be questioning what you did or how you did it.
And Catherine, I do appreciate you pointing that out. I do see now it's an illustrated parts list, and I do see now it does say 3470 and 3570. It does not say 3770. So I must have misread that.
All right.
And I think the 3070, the problem is if this PC has in its original state second gen CPU in there, yes, and the BIOS is not updated, so we cannot. Yes, the CPU may fit. Yes, I got
right.
But the BIOS level is the CPU because the BIOS cannot know the CPU. Yes, because when that BIOS level was released, the 3770 would not even exist. Yes, you know what I mean? I know. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I always think about that when trying to build a computer or put a parts list together for somebody else's computer, because I always wonder, is this motherboard going to be compatible with this CPU? And even if it is, what does it have, like the first generation or second generation BIOS on it that's not compatible?
But for example, with Verizon, yes, it does not make much sense if you buy a A320 motherboard and then you come on with a 5900 Ryzen and want to put the 5900 Ryzen into this board. It doesn't make any sense. The board is cheap, the CPU is expensive, they don't go well together. Yes, so you always need to make sure that the level, no, it can accept it, and it makes sense to accept it. Yes.
Yeah.
Not even a B450 might be a good idea for a 5900. Yes, because it needs a certain type of VRAM. It needs the best VRAM it can get. Yes. It's just an example, yes.
Okay, Chris, were you trying the external monitor with the DisplayPort cable?
I did, and nothing happened.
Okay, so when you
I done got a CPU out now.
You got the CPU out now?
Yep, out of the all-in-one.
Out of the all-in-one. Okay, so I think I'd like to request that you don't go any further with the CPU work until we're not on a live stream, because I want to be sure you have your total focus on it. And ideally, you know what? Now that you have a CPU out and in your hands, can you see the model number on that CPU?
I look, but I can't. It's very small.
Okay, how about, can you take a picture with a cell phone and then zoom in on the picture?
I probably could.
And the only reason why I don't really care too much about the model of that CPU, but just to try to help you figure out a way so that you can get the model number of the CPU that's going to come back into the all-in-one. And
Try this again.
all right, you take a couple minutes for that. I'm going to address a question from Sam in the chat. Let's that off there. Sam says, a bit of a strange question. How do you migrate from POP3 to IMAP? Mac operating system mail. So reading between the lines, Sam, I'm thinking that you've got a POP3 email account configured on a Mac and you want to switch that to IMAP. The account settings on the email host, the email provider, I've often found that in their configuration settings, there's a choice to support IMAP, to enable IMAP or to enable POP3. So you may have to go in there to enable it from your host.
But Doug, wouldn't he have to delete his email account on the actual computer if it's like on Outlook or Apple Mail or whatever, and then recreate it as IMAP?
Yes, but first his email account has to support IMAP. So once he's made that change in his email host, then he would delete the configuration on his mail client on the Mac and then recreate the mail account on the on the Mac as IMAP. Now, a problem there, a catch, is that the way POP3 works is it downloads email to your computer, and it may be configured to delete those emails from the host. So, yeah, like if you're using Microsoft Outlook, you would have a PST file that you could keep in order to retain all of your old emails. Whereas if you actually delete the email account configuration from your computer and delete the PST file, you would be probably losing your old emails. But Outlook, for instance, when you delete the email account configuration in Outlook, that does not delete the PST file. It's still sitting on your computer, but you need to know where to go find it to add it to your mail configuration later. Now, another.
So if you're using IMAP in Outlook, you don't have a PST file?
You have an OST.
You have an OST. Thank you, Gary. And so it operates differently, and it's intended to keep a synchronization between your local computer and the mail provider. So that way you could easily have other devices configured to that same IMAP account. And when you delete an email from one of your devices, it's automatically deleted from the other devices. Whereas a POP3, if you delete the email from your email software on a device, that does not delete it from.
You could have a clean Outlook inbox from the computer, but you could still have thousands of emails in your.
Actually, Doug,
Yeah.
This one I've actually had with myself at work, because I have POP3 for Outlook or not. I'm using Outlook, and I have other accounts with POP3 and IMAP at the same time.
True, and I was thinking that as I was talking, because I don't think you actually have to delete the POP3 from Outlook. You can add an additional account to Outlook, and you would just add additional account as IMAP. Now, I don't usually do it that way because I find that Outlook's automatic detection works better if you're actually launching Outlook where there's no existing email profile. But that's really not so much IMAP, but that's Microsoft 365. So I think I've probably thrown a lot of, kind of muddled the advice a bit. But Gary, you're absolutely right. You could add it. Now he's using the Mac operating system mail client, which I've done a little bit with, but not very much. So you could, as long as your email host is supporting IMAP, then on your Mac, you should be able to add a new account, select the account type of IMAP, and complete it that way. Now, I've noticed when I do an email configuration on a cell phone, for instance, it can be very, it's kind of obscure to find where to configure an IMAP account. But I won't go into that further because that's not really Sam's question. All right, Sam, I hope that helped. Now, he gives some answer here. The ISP email account, this is a client. ISP email account. So their internet service provider hosts the email account. So you would need to go into there should be a web access to that email account and look at the configuration of that email account. Now, if you don't do that first, you could just go straight into the Mac operating system and try to add an IMAP email account. And if it works, it works. That means the host is supporting it. Sam says, should I just add another account, the same one but IMAP, then transfer the emails to IMAP from POP3 account on the computer? Yeah, that works. I've done that. My client's ISP does support IMAP. Okay. And then here's a guide from Apple and from Telstra. I think Telstra is the ISP. This asks for a client, very messy job. So I'll right click here, open a new tab, and right click here, open a new tab. Those come up on my Big Beast monitor number 1. It's weird when I move the mouse across these 3 monitors, it gets stuck at the boundaries. Like I have to push it hard to get it past one monitor into the next. Change servers in mail on Mac. Yeah, it looks like you're at the right instructions here. But yeah, I think your recent comment, Sam, about adding the new account into the mail client as IMAP, and then just drag and drop the emails from the POP3 account into the IMAP inbox and sent items folder and deleted items folder if you care about that. And then this is mail service. IMAP syncs your email, anything you do, yeah. POP doesn't sync, yeah. When you're switching from POP to IMAP, your POP folder will be lost. To keep them, sign into webmail, recreate the folders before you change over. That's a little concerning. If you're switching from POP to IMAP, your POP folder setup will be lost. That's kind of making me think that your mail account on the mail server has to be either POP or IMAP. You can't have both. Account type IMAP, recommend settings, coming server. Now here was clicked on the tab for IMAP. Here's the tab for POP. Oh, it just scrolls down. So these are in the same section. I click on this link, it just scrolls down to here. So they're saying they recommend IMAP. Do they say anything here about changing your account configuration? Doesn't look like it. There's different ports to use. But they're not saying anything about having to reconfigure your account on the server. But this statement up here, if you're switching from POP to IMAP, your POP folder setup will be lost. Well, that would be true if you're deleting the account configuration from within the Mac Mail client. But if the Mac Mail client will let you have both configurations at the same time, it might not. You know what? Yeah, and Gary, you might confirm this. When you've had different types, when you've had POP3 and IMAP configurations coexisting, but they weren't on the same email account, were they, Gary?
Actually, in converting, I didn't know, except a couple of times I have basically tried to get rid of the POP3, and you can have both, because I've had PSTs in the millions of bytes, while I've had IMAP is all on the enterprise server. You know, they may be used in a limited server, and that may be different. But
to desktop, yes, 495.
Yeah, there may be some variations on that. I don't think we're going to have all the answers for your Mac solution, Sam, but hopefully that helps some. Now, let's go back and see what other comments here. Client using old Bing Pond settings. Oh, all right. Well, that goes back over to here then. Old Bing Pond settings, whatever that means. That's POP3. I'm going to guess that might have been a prior mail service called Old Big Pond that was bought out by Telstra, maybe. I've been involved in a few of those situations, and they got a little gnarly. Then what does he say next? IMAP is a non-starter for me. Read my email on 5 different devices. Using IMAP on any of them would screw up the others. Oh, so Jim keeps separate email. If he deletes emails on one device, he doesn't want them deleted on another device, I think is what he's saying. Javita Sam, first see in the properties of the user account in Outlook in the advanced options and see what is delivery status. We don't know if he's using Outlook on the Mac. Could be. He did say, didn't he say, Mac operating system mail. So that would imply to me he's not using Outlook, but using the built-in mail system. Iowa Hank, add an IMAP account to your email program, but turn off sync on your POP account. That way you won't lose old emails. Turn off sync on your POP account? I didn't think POP accounts had a sync.
Now connected to desktop BX 49523.
That's not me this time.
That's
Yeah,
Josh.
that's Josh's computer. He uses accessibility features, so sometimes we'll hear his computer talking to him. That's all right. And
No,
then,
I know. I'm sorry.
yeah, Chris, the i5 from the HP tower they put in the AIO was for sure i5 3470. I was thinking the whole time it was i5 3770. So Chris, you do have a way now to get the markings off of the CPU, correct?
I do, and I'm typing it into chat.
Okay, great.
You won't be tagged. You won't be tagged because there's a lot of characters.
That's all
It may
right.
not all fit, but
That's all right. Well, I'll catch it. Sam, yeah, it's for a client Mac operating system. Didn't quite confirm that it's the Mac. Yeah, down here he says default Mac client, mail client. Kenny, looks like Chris finished swapping the CPU. I don't think he swapped it. I think he just took the one out of the AIO. Yeah, and he confirms that here. We've been advising him to wait and take the CPU out of the tower when he's offline and we're not on video, so you can focus on it.
Hey, Jim. I'm sorry, Doug.
No.
Jim, you have 5 different or however many different email accounts with different places, from what I'm understanding. Is that correct? So they wouldn't. What I'm saying is they wouldn't cross delete anyway. If you deleted something off of Gmail, it's going to delete off help Comcast.
No, I don't think that's what he said here, Gary, but he'll confirm that. He says, I read my email on 5 different devices. That sounds to me like it's his email.
Okay, you're right, like on their smartphone and desktop.
Yeah. And I've had some clients like that. They'll have their email on their phone. They want to be able to delete emails from their phone, but they still want it on their office computer.
I'm different. If I delete it, I won't ever see that again.
Yeah. Oh, I'm with you, Gary.
Well, if I delete my email, I delete it from my phone and it thinks to call all my devices.
Yeah.
It thinks to call my computer, it thinks to call my iPhone, it thinks to call my iPad, it thinks to call all of them.
Okay.
So that's just because I use Gmail.
First, on a personal note, Doug, I've had people have deleted their email and they brought it to the office. The message.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't responded to somebody. It's like, is he here?
Oh, so you delete an email from them and they bring the email in on a physical paper to you at the office.
In other words, they have not heard back from me on something they said because I don't want to deal with it,
Oh, okay. You were trying to ghost them and they wouldn't put up with it.
Yeah, here's the proposal for that new, 10-gram printer. I don't want the printers. No more.
All right. Let's see. Chris has given us here what's on the i5 CPU. Sam, it's the Mac OS email client, supports dragging from one account to another, dragging emails from my Gmail to Yandex email account. Yeah, the question still remaining is, can you have for one particular email address, can you have the Mac OS email client configured for that account as a POP account and as a IMAP account at the same time? All he can do is try it, I think. That should be what it's.
Sorry, Doug. They will probably have different addresses. Even if it's the same physical box, they probably will have one saying imap.bigpond.com. The other one will say pop3.bigpond.com.
Oh, yeah, it may be a different server address.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be. All right, let's turn back to Chris. We caught up there. So, Chris, you gave us the markings from the CPU. You've got it out. You've got an easy way to identify what the other CPU is. Now, I and others have told you to wait until we're not on video for taking the CPU out of the tower. But now I'm kind of questioning that. How do you feel about that? Do you want to wait until you're off video, or because I have something else to attend to? I can work with Josh for a while you're focused on the tower if you want to. You're muted, Chris. We haven't heard anything you said.
I'm having to keep myself muted because my mother might call me on this walkie-talkie, but
That's fine.
that's what you heard earlier. But yeah, I could do that, but it might take me a while. We might have to finish this another day. I mean,
Yeah.
if we run out of time.
No, I'm actually I'm not wanting to go real long. The thing I want to do with Josh is to set up a remote connection to his computer so he doesn't have to type in the 6-digit codes. I'm not sure if we have any issues to work with Josh today or not, but if we do,
No, I'm pretty much good today. I'm just
You're
trying to get my Dell up because I'm giving it to my aunt because I got a new system coming in.
Okay. Well, I'd like to go ahead and set up the remote connection with your computer, mostly to put it on video about this other way of doing it for anyone else that might be interested. And then after that, I think we'll probably go ahead and end the live stream and let Chris move that CPU from the tower back to the all-in-one. Now, I'm suspecting if anybody is eager to find out about the results, I'm suspecting before I go live again, he will probably report the results on Ken Stout's channel. They've been there. There's a core group of people that participate on my channel and on Kerry Holzman's channel that are pretty much every day on Ken Stout's channel, sometimes multiple times during the day. And they deal with a lot.
I might even do an update on it. It just takes forever for me to upload a video.
All right. Well, that's be welcome if you do.
Forget me doing a live stream because it's terrible.
No, live stream adds more stress, and I don't think you want to go there. But reporting it, giving an update on Ken Stout's channel, and for anyone who wants to know that or check in there, let's get Ken Stout's channel in the chat. There's several of you there that have it. If nobody pastes that into the chat soon, I'll go ahead and do it.
Yeah, they have them, the people around the world in different places. It's been really nice to me.
Yeah,
and I really appreciate it.
Ken is in the process of moving to a new house, and he also puts a lot of that information on his channel, and his channel they talk about much broader variety, and the group has really got to know each other pretty well, I'd say. So
I posted that for you, Doug.
Thank you, Alex. I was just turning my attention to that. I was hoping somebody would soon. I'm not seeing that yet, am I? Oh, you just said Ken Stout Live. You didn't actually post the URL.
You want me to post the URL?
Yeah, to his channel.
And Blackwatch asked Ken who?
Yeah, of course he did. Well, maybe he should ask which Ken. I mean, we know now there's multiple Chris's. Are there multiple Kens? There's Dan the Man put it in. And then BH Ringer. Yeah, BH Ringer actually identified it as Ken Stout Live. So that link there, I guess I'm going to read this into the video for anyone who's watching the video later but not watching chat. So here's the Ken Stout Live, and I'll click on that. I'll right click, new tab, and that brings it up on my monitor number 1. I don't have all my buttons yet. And then, so here's what it looks like. You click on his videos tab here, you more reliably going to get his recent videos. And I don't think he intentionally created those thumbnails. I think those are what YouTube picked. Here's a thumbnail that he intentionally created, but you see there's like 16 hours ago, 17 hours ago, 1 day ago, 1 day ago, 2 days ago, 2 days, 3 days, 3 days, 3 days. So he gets multiple videos. I think some of you would find a great deal of enjoyment on that channel as well. Yeah, and Josh is.
I just got one more quick question that I just thought of. Maybe I don't know. But Catherine mentioned about a BIOS update.
Yeah.
This i5 would have actually been a downgrade to this all-in-one.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah. So that would probably indicate that you're not going to need a BIOS update to support the CPU that came from the tower. But that's okay. It was still a valid.
It was still good, Catherine.
It was a
valid good idea.
Valid concern.
I don't know exactly which CPUs which computer has. So this was one of my suspects, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
But it does not mention in the manual. I don't think it mentioned this CPU in the manual. So
yeah. Well, but my advice still stands of returning the computer back to its original state as close as possible, because that removes the number of variables that we're trying to troubleshoot through.
Hey, Greg, if you built that computer,
did I build it?
Yeah, did you build it or buy it?
I bought it. It was in HP all-in-one. It's a touch screen all-in-one.
Okay.
Hello, Jim.
Howdy.
I buy these things and tinker around with them to learn, and I'm pretty much learning things with y'all's help. But I'm learning.
That's a good. I love that. I think that's a great thing.
Chris, are you sure it's a touchscreen? Because I thought originally it was said it wasn't a touchscreen.
It's a touch screen. The drivers were just not installed by the person I bought it from.
Okay.
Is it actually have a label on it that says touchscreen?
It does, and I have confirmed it.
Okay.
I have confirmed it's a touchscreen.
Yeah, and the model number also claims it to be a touchscreen.
And I use my hands on it too, so it's definitely a touchscreen.
Jim, did you just have something to add, or are you just coming in to hang out?
Oh, I'm just here to hang out. I caught your last video. You had posted it about 11 minutes before I found it, and yeah, my ears were burning.
Oh, in regards to rebuilding,
yes.
Wipe and reload. Okay.
Yes.
Well, something else that you might be interested to know. I have also wipe and reload Big Beast build.
Oh, finally?
Yeah.
After torturing yourself for how many weeks now?
Well, no, I still defend that because I did not have time to rebuild it when I first brought it here. Now this rebuild operation is not done, and I've got a written list of the things that I'm having to do to bring it back up. And just when I was going live today, preparing to go live, I realized I missed the countdown timer that I usually have at the beginning. So there was no countdown timer today. I'm sure nobody noticed that. But there's...
Yes, I did.
You noticed, yeah.
Yes.
So there's a longer story behind my decision to wipe and reload on it. Now, actually, I didn't do a wipe and reload. What I did is I took Carrie's installation, Carrie's Windows 10 Pro installation, and then built up from there. And
right, the base installation that he did.
Yeah, I used that as a starter. In title insurance business that I was in a long time ago, we called it a starter when you use somebody else's work and then continue from there. And Carrie's installation was certainly clean to work from. But there's more to that story that I'll get into another time. I've got a couple other things to hit up right now. So here you're on my camera number 1. Here's my camera number 2 currently positioned at the Big Beast build, and you see my reflection in the door. Now,
You need more fans.
Need more fans. Yeah, well, there's one missing, and I think I reported that when Carrie was doing the final configuration of it, there was a fan that didn't work, and then I've got my keyboard cam pointed out this way. So I've got this I just redid this configuration this morning. This is monitor number 1 for Big Beast. This is monitor number 2. This is monitor number 3, which ironically, this is the startup monitor that has all the icons. Then over here is Baby Beast. And that's that for Baby Beast. There's 2 monitors, not that one. There's this monitor and there's the display capture that I can punch to when I go to this button. And so that's on its second display port. So I don't actually have a second monitor set up that I can see right now because I have to get a display port splitter in order to do that.
Some bigger monitors.
Well, this is bigger than what I had. No, it's not. It's new. This is a new monitor, and this is a new monitor, and I had a 27-inch on this part of the desk last week. It's just too big. Moving my eyes between these monitors is just nuts. Now, here's the mouse. You can actually see it through the keyboard monitor. When I try to move it to this monitor, that time it moves smooth. Sometimes it bumps up against the edge, and I have to take a running start to get it to jump over to the mother monitor. Hi.
They have some nice 49-inch curved monitors you might want to get.
No. No.
What's so funny?
I have a client that bought one of those through me, and no, I don't like it. and I want separate monitors because if I got that big monitor, I'd have to use a different method to be able to switch screens. Right now, if I do, XSplit gives me these different profiles. Let's see, what do they call them? Presets. So when I punch up Big Beast build, there'll be 3 presets, and I click on those 3 presets to choose whether I want monitor 1, 2, or 3. Eventually, I'll have those on my buttons. No, on these buttons. Did Blackwatch just faint? He should have fainted when he sees this. That one's not live yet, but it's going to be because I haven't had time to get to that because I'm still fussing with all these details, trying to get this thing.
I think Jim and I both, I hate to say it like this, but the amount of time we spent on the 2 computers, I won't say anymore. We could have bought them.
Could have bought them?
Yeah, the amount you spent on the other computer that we heard about during the beginning of the week, you could have bought the Beast.
Oh, the amount of time that I spent on Bob Carlson's computer?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, but I've told you a number of times, and I know you're not going to get it. Is that?
Oh, we do. We all do. It's fun and
all right.
Learning it.
Yeah, I like trying to solve it. Now, I have not told you all the things that I tried on this, and I did record those, but those videos are going to require some editing, and I don't know if I'll ever back up to get to that since it wasn't really productive. It was instructive. It was informative. It dug into some details.
Alexa?
it dug into it delved into some details of how computers work that I thought were informative and educational. But
Here's something I found on the web.
Shut up.
According to turnpaperwarehouse.com, computers
Alexa,
are
set
information
Garrett
systems,
computer.
which has
All
an
right,
operating
guys.
system.
I
It
didn't.
supports input, processing,
Go put it in the
output,
waiting
and
room. I
persistent
sent a
memory.
link and you didn't realize it.
I can't mute her until it stops. What did you say? Did you say her name, Chris?
Yes.
She's muted. She's muted. She's not going to respond. So I guess Chris must have said something there.
I have a small question, Doug.
Yeah.
That stand that the Blue Yeti is sitting on, is that the standard that comes with it, or is that something else you got?
Oh gosh. I think there's another stand that actually came with.
No, it's not. It's not the standard stand. Jim, the stand that I have mine on is the standard.
Yeah, and I think I still have the standard in another room.
An interesting stand.
Yeah. Well, previously, the Blue Yeti was hanging over my main monitors that were on this corner, and it was on a tripod, and the tripod was just laying over the monitors, and the feet of the tripod was propped against the wall. And it was a way to get it off the desk, because in that setup, I found that if I had the Blue Yeti on the desk like this, there was a constant hum in the video. Now that hum might still be there, but because I have a computer now that's strong enough to filter out background noise, we're not hearing it.
Yeah.
But my old computer wasn't strong enough. I turned off all the extra workload that the CPU was trying to do, including filtering background noise. So I actually haven't listened to one of these live streams that I've done since I have the Big Beast build here, but you guys haven't told me about a hum that's coming over the YouTube.
No, I've never noticed it.
So I think it's coming pretty clean, and I think it gets a better audio quality for my voice. I think when the microphone was hanging over the monitors, it was a little more echoey or tinny. Now, here's another thing is last week, people were saying in the chat room that the audio over YouTube was had a metallic sound. Somebody described it as, or something, and I switched over to a headset, and they said that fixed it. So I'm going to try switching over to this headset. Oh, but no, the problem is, if I do that now, your voices don't come over YouTube at all, because there's something about my setup that's not right. Because I've also completely rebuilt. Now, wait a minute. No, that's not true. No, I don't know why the Zoom isn't coming over. The isn't being captured by XSplit when I have the headset on. Because you remember I used to wear this, and the people in Zoom were still coming over. So I'm just going to test this and be sure that when I plug this in, your voices on Zoom are not coming over the video. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Connected. So I need somebody on Zoom to talk. Okay. So I hear Catherine talking. I hear Jim talking in my ear. I'm waiting for people in the chat room to tell me whether you can still hear the participants in the Zoom session, or are you only hearing me? Say again. I'm guessing that because that's what they said earlier. Savi says no. Wintermute, no. Yeah, everybody's saying no. So there's something that I've got set wrong. I'm going to experiment with that after the video or separate. Now, here's the thing. When I take this off, sometimes the ear thing stays in my ear. Hard to dig out. All right. So now they can hear you again. Say something to prove it, please.
Yes.
There we go.
No.
All right. All right.
Something.
Now, what I was hoping was going to work
Oh,
was this, because this doesn't go in my ear, so my ears won't get sore. And I got this to work with my laptop out in the kitchen with Baby Beast, but not with Big Beast. And with Baby, I was figuring today I could use this audio through Baby Beast for Zoom, but then I would have to have Big Beast capture the Zoom audio through the application, and that wasn't working. But I got this working with Baby Beast, except for Zoom. It doesn't play the audio through Zoom, but I can hear audio through other things.
Maybe you should go back to your old computers.
Do what with my old computers?
Go back to them.
Go back to them? Yeah, because that's something I want to do. Right. Now the other thing is that ground control to Major Doug. What? Oh well.
It's a David Bowie song.
That's Blackwatch. I know that it's got to be some kind of a play off the song Major
Space Oddity by David Bowie.
Space Oddity, yeah. But I can't quite connect what he was saying. Catherine. Ground control to Major Tom. Major Tom. Yeah.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah.
Back to mine, I did read in the manual. It does have Intel graphics.
In 4000.
Well, that's referring to the graphics card, isn't it? Not the CPU.
CPU has integrated.
But remember you said that I took the graphics card out and I should have kept it in for testing the external monitor.
Yeah.
It does have an integrated graphics.
Okay, that CPU has integrated graphics, but does that motherboard channel the integrated graphics to the HDMI? Yeah, of course it does. It should do.
But it could be disabled in the BIOS too.
I suppose.
The integrated graphics could be disabled in the BIOS. Does the small form factor PC have a dedicated graphics card? I don't know, but the small form factor is actually a tower. It's not a small form factor, and it has integrated graphics.
Yeah, so your tower computer, it's not a small form factor, it's a tower. It does not have a graphics card.
Well, it did, but I read the Intel graphics seem to be better, so I'll use them.
Okay, so when you put the CPU from the all-in-one into the tower, it had to have been using the graphics through the CPU because there was no graphics card in the tower, right?
No.
No? Meaning not right?
You're right.
I'm right. So that proves that CPU has integrated graphics because it was working in the tower. That doesn't have a graphics card. All right. So a little teaser about the motivation behind rebuilding the Big Beast build. I was having a blue screen crash on the Big Beast build. However, I was having that same blue screen crash on my old computer. So as a troubleshooting step, I figured I want to do a fresh build on Big Beast and see if I still have the blue screen crash. Yes, I do, but I don't get to see the blue screen. It just reboots. It is configured to not in BIOS to not automatically reboot on an error. Now, I'm not sure that I've fixed that in Windows yet.
That was going to be my suggestion. You fixed it in Windows.
Yeah, I need to fix that in Windows. Now, I'm not... Okay, Catherine.
You might want to run Terry's tool again. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, because his tool includes that. Okay, yeah, I'll use that.
Uncle Carrie.
Yeah, not Carrie, Uncle Carrie, because there's multiple.
My uncle too.
There are multiple Carries, right? There's Carrie Holzman on the YouTube channel, and there's Uncle Carrie.
My uncle too, I guess.
I'm telling you, everybody's got multiple personas. You just don't know it. Now, okay, but let me tell you more about this blue screen. I suspected, even with my old computer, that it's a hardware compatibility issue, and probably with the StarTech capture devices that I have. When I originally got those StarTech capture devices, the tech support for StarTech spent a couple hours on the phone with me trying to troubleshoot the problem. And what we wound up finding back then is that it was a conflict that they had back then, maybe still, with AS Media. AS Media is the drivers behind USB ports. And I had, to resolve that with the old computer, I purchased add-in USB cards that were specifically not AS Media. They were some other driver provider. But then I was still having the blue screen errors. Well, I only have those errors when I leave XSplit on for a long period of time when I'm not using it. I've never had those problems during a live stream or during a recording. And usually the problem occurs overnight, but it has also occurred during the days. So last night, my troubleshooting step, it was after other troubleshooting steps, is I unplugged the USB cable for both StarTech devices, left XSplit open overnight, and it did not crash. However, that doesn't prove anything because it doesn't crash every night. It doesn't crash every time that I leave XSplit open. So that's an issue that I'm troubleshooting. Now, the reason why I care about it is because part of the reason I'm buying this computer is I want to leave the software open that I use so that I can just sit down and record something or live stream something or do a video editing or do a Camtasia or do Fortnite without having to relaunch things, because XSplit, for instance, it still takes a long time to launch, even on the Big Beast build. It's not quick. Just because you have a faster, more capable computer, programs that are complex can still take a while to launch. So let's start with Josh because he chimed in first, and then Catherine. Josh?
When was the last time you checked for a software update for that program?
Oh, it updates very often. So it's recently updated. In fact, that's part of the reason why I do a full image backup every night, because sometimes those updates cause problems. And also then Stream Deck does updates, and sometimes XSplit update will cause a problem with Stream Deck. So then I have to get the Stream Deck update. And then there's add-ins that will have updates. Sometimes they cause problems. Ay caramba. Catherine, your turn.
So the XSplit, it's a broadcaster you use, yes?
Yeah, as a competitor to OBS.
Which software version do you have of the XSplit?
Of what?
The XSplit.
XSplit, what version? Oh, okay, I'll tell you the version here. It is version 4.3.2202.1219. And actually under that, that's the version for XSplit. Broadcaster, which is a component of XSplit, its version number 1.4.2201.2803 RE3.
Right.
And then there's a version for media library, then a version for game source, and a version for CFCOM. These are all versions within XSplit Broadcaster.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And this is, you have a premium license that expires August 11th, 2022. Now I like the software. I'm very familiar with it and comfortable with it. I did try OBS before trying XSplit, and I can't recite to you what my reason was for going to XSplit, but I know that there was a no starter problem I had with OBS, and I don't remember what it was, but it's a complex program. It takes a while to launch, and I want to keep it up and running.
Someone tried to get in. I already did.
Zavi Manor is here. Hello, Zavi.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, I am wondering about Chris laptops, Chris computers.
Okay.
I don't know what processor he took out from the all-in-one, and what is his computer now.
I think you said you don't know what processor was originally in his computer. We don't have the answer.
No. I'm asking what processor is in he took out from the all-in-one now, and what is running in the desktop now.
Oh, okay. Well, he posted in the chat the processor that he took out of the all-in-one now, which is the processor that was originally in the tower. The processor that's in the tower was the one that was originally in the all-in-one, and we don't have identification from the actual processor yet.
Can we confirm that?
Yeah, he's going to remove that processor from the tower.
No, without the takeout. We can see that the computer is running. You can see the processor now.
Oh yeah, from like CPU ID.
Yes.
Or from MS Info. That's a good point. Chris, do you know how to do that? And you're muted, Chris.
The CPU in the tower.
The CPU that's in the tower now originally came from the all-in-one. Can you check on screen to see what the CPU is?
I could, but it will take me a few minutes to get it hooked up.
Not to take out.
What'd you say, Shafi?
I'm telling him not to take it out. He can see it with the system info.
Yeah, but he says he has to reconnect that computer to turn it on. It's not on right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you'll have to move the monitor back to where the tower is and reconnect it.
I'm using the monitor that I had on that end. I'm using a double monitor.
All right.
Yeah, the computer is running.
No, he doesn't have a monitor connected to the tower right now. And I don't know whether it's on or not.
It's not on.
Oh, it's not on. So Shavi, is there any point behind putting urgency on getting that CPU model?
Oh, I was confused. I don't know what processor he had in his hand and what is running.
Okay. Well, right now, neither of those processors are running a computer.
Yes, but he has a processor in his hand. What is the model number?
The processor that's in his hand, he just removed from the all-in-one, and it's the processor that was originally in the tower.
What is the number?
It's in the chat room.
34 3470. I posted it, but let's see. Yes, it's a 3470 Intel i5. Yes, that's right.
Can you say it? I didn't understand the category.
Yeah. And I'm gonna I'll repost it in chat too. But it's a i5 3470.
Okay.
Javi, I'm assuming you haven't been with us all along, right?
No, I'm from the beginning.
Okay.
Hey, Zavi, I'll do an update later on. I'll do some updates on it later on.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm scrolling back in chat trying to find where that is. I don't see it. Could somebody else go back and scroll to where Chris posted that in chat and just repost it?
Now connected to desktop BS 495.
All right. So then going back to where, I don't know, where were we? What were we talking about?
Well, I was going to say something to you, Doug. Since you're having all those blue screens, Beth, you might want to get off Windows 11 and go back to Windows 10.
Oh, it is Windows 10. It's not Windows 11.
I know. This is Garrett. I like Windows 11, remember? So anytime I hear people say blue screen to death, it's like, you got to get off that doggone Windows 11. It's so bad. And then they say Windows 10. You catch the joke.
All right. I'm with you.
I've had one, and it's green, not blue now.
Oh, that's right.
You were about to put the log me in thing on Josh's computer.
Yeah, let's go turn to that. All right, so
Hey, Doug,
yeah.
I'm gonna be sitting back and I'm gonna be watching the YouTube, so I'll still keep Zoom on though.
Okay.
I'll be laying back on the bed.
Okay, mute your microphone, please. Thank you. All right, so as many of you are aware, Josh uses accessibility features on his computer, and last week when it was time to put in the 6-digit code, what actually wound up happening is I spoke the code to him, and his computer actually heard me and entered the code, but it was just kind of a nuisance. So Josh asked if there was a easier way to do this. So earlier today, I don't know, half an hour before the live stream, I emailed him a link, and he can click on that link to initiate connection to my computer without having to do a 6-digit code. And then we're going to set up the unattended access so that in the future, if he has an issue for us to deal with on live stream, I can actually initiate connection to his computer from my computer without him doing anything. Now, the safety valve for this is it's impossible for me to connect to his computer without leaving a message on his screen saying I was connected. So that's the way a person is secure against nefarious activities. So Josh, if you go ahead and click on that link in that email now, we'll see you.
The link is already open now. But Beth went in and did it for me because I was in the bathroom.
Okay, you said the link is already open. So then I think there's something for you to click on there to actually connect to me.
Yeah, it's one in the code. It's one in.
Hey Doug, does the link you sent Josh actually automatically put in the code into the log me in?
Well, I thought it does, but maybe it doesn't. So is it asking you for a code?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the link that I sent you today.
Yeah.
That is not as expected, because here what I did is this screen that I'm showing on the video now, this tab here is for doing the pin code method. This tab was for emailing a link, and that link should automatically connect to my computer without a code. See, this tab here has no place to even generate a code. All right.
I would suggest closing the link and then reopening it from the email.
Well, I don't think that's going to be the case. Let's try something else first. I'm going to go ahead and
I got the code, but it had to say that.
Doug, that was my fault. I had accidentally deleted the code because I thought that you had tried to give him the code before and wasn't fully all the way in there.
Oh, so were you assisting Josh remotely with this?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So Gary, I think you're right then.
Jim.
Or Jim. All right.
You've been very helpful.
Okay, great. So I still don't have something coming up on my screen. Maybe you need to go back to the email and start again.
I haven't hit the start download button yet.
All right, go ahead. So you click
when I clicked on the link, it said said it's got a red box around the number. The number that it's got is 889327.
I don't need to know the number. So it automatically entered a number for you. That's interesting. I haven't tested this process from the client side myself, so see how that goes. Sam Lazar says, I'm going to message Apple Australia and find out how to switch from POP to IMAP. All right.
Then the code does not. I can't read.
Code does not exist. Please contact your support provider.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just go ahead and do the PIN code because, Alex, you can enter that for him, right?
Correct.
All right, let's do the PIN code method, and then we'll set up the unattended access, and that's going to solve the issue. So let's see. I want to is that I'll look up something here. All right, I'll just put this in as Josh. And then here's the code, Alex, for you to put in 915630. And then there he shows up. And I think right now you've got it downloaded. And then you have to actually launch that download. It's intriguing to me that it shows up on my screen before you actually launch the file you downloaded, which means that LogMe and Rescue has recognized that you downloaded the file. And it's showing me on my screen that you're in process of connecting. Have you launched the downloaded file?
I have.
Okay, next thing that should happen is a ding from my side, and now it says waiting. We didn't hear the ding because I don't have speakers plugged into that computer. So then I right click and choose start, and then choose remote control session. And then you get a prompt on your side to allow that.
So now we should actually both be connected at the same time.
Right, right. So I'm moving the mouse in counterclockwise circle. Now, if you try moving the mouse back and forth left to right, we're going to be fighting each other, I think.
Well, I'm not touching the mouse now that you're connected.
Well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, Alex. Go ahead and move your mouse.
I'm not touching it either.
Yeah.
I'm moving it. Can you see that?
No, I don't. Now, what remote software are you using, Alex?
TeamViewer.
Yeah. I've found that TeamViewer doesn't let, when I'm connected remotely to a computer and somebody else is connected to it with TeamViewer, I cannot see Alex's mouse movements. But I think Josh can.
Well, there's on my end on the TeamViewer, if I look up at the top where it's got the little TeamViewer's got the little drop down menu, it says show remote cursor. if I click on the option for show remote cursor, I should be able to see your mouse moving.
Well, let's try that. But you were seeing my mouse movement, Alex, weren't you? You said you said
no, I wasn't.
Oh, you weren't.
I don't think so.
Now, I think when you choose show remote mouse movements, I think that's for Josh to see you moving the mouse. I don't think it's for me.
Yeah, I can be a
You're moving the mouse now?
I'm moving the mouse in counterclockwise circles.
Yes, I can see that.
Oh, you can see me move the mouse. So
yes, correct.
You go ahead and move the mouse, Alex. I don't see any movement.
I don't see any movement either.
All right. So
I see it when Doug moved it.
All right. Let's move along. Well, Josh, Alex and Josh have been doing remote. Alex has been helping Josh remotely. Josh, do you never see Alex moving the mouse?
No, I do.
You do. Okay, but maybe
on my desktop.
Maybe not when I'm connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that's interesting. So now what I do is I come up here to this unattended access. Actually, let's show calling card. Let's show what calling card does. Some people may be interested in this. I'm going to click on calling card and then click on install calling card. I'm not going to do either of those check boxes. And if I come back here to the customer desktop, there is a message here. DougBetts would like to deploy the rescue calling card. And click OK on this. And then I'm going to press Windows key and the letter D to minimize all open programs. Well, let's let this finish first. Okay, here's Windows key and D. We get to the desktop. And here it is, DougBetts Remote. So, Josh, this is a way that you or somebody on the client side can initiate a connection to my computer, and there's no 6-digit code involved. Okay? Now, then another thing that we're going to do here is when I come up here to unattended access, and then click down here for indefinitely, and then click request unattended access. Now, when I choose indefinitely, that means it's going to be a permanent thing on his computer, except that he can disable it at any time. He can uninstall it at any time. But until somebody interrupts or cancels the capability, this connection capability will stay there. So I'll request unattended access, come back to customer desktop, and then there's a countdown going. DougBetts requests unattended access. By proceeding, you will allow technicians to access this computer by entering administrative credentials at the start of every session. So for me to be able to do this, I have to know Josh's login name and password for an administrative account. I'm going to click OK on that and then explain some more because that countdown is running down. If Josh doesn't want to give me his credentials, which is totally understandable, then he can use this method in the future to easily establish a remote connection, and I don't have to know his password. Another method to do this is I can create, or anyone could create on his computer, another administrative account that's specifically for me, and I can use the credentials of that account to connect to Josh's logged in session. Now, this remote access, this unattended access, I've heard some criticisms of it from other technicians in regards to the security risk to the client side, meaning Josh's side. The security for that is that anytime I connect, when I disconnect, it will leave a message on the computer saying that I was connected, even if the computer gets shut down. So If, for instance, I shut down his computer and then disconnect, when he turns his computer back on, it's going to display a message in the bottom right corner saying that I was connected. So I can't get away with connecting without being ratted on by the software. And it shows up.
I don't mind because I trust you and I trust you and I trust Alan.
Yeah, I understand that. The only reason why I'm explaining it is to explain how LogMe and Rescue works. To point out that it has security provisions. Now, one of the things that is worthy of criticism, and this has nothing to do with Josh or Alex, I'm just telling a little bit about LogMe and Rescue, is that when I choose that unattended access, if I already have a remote connection, I can click myself to authorize the unattended access. So that has been criticized as a security fault. And I say not really, because it always leaves the message on screen for the user to see that I was connected. And down here in the notification area in the bottom right corner of the screen, these little icons, there's this one that's a blue circle, well, a white circle with a blue interior and a plus sign. That red dot is actually a profile of a person. You can't make it out because it's really tiny. There's a head, there's a yellow kind of head, and there's a red shirt. Anyway, you can right click on that to revoke unattended access right here. If you no longer want to have unattended access, you can right click anytime to revoke that, which means I can no longer connect unattended. So that's all of that. We don't have any work to do with Josh today. This dialogue window here, or chat window between me and Josh, I can minimize that. And either of us can open that up again by clicking, I think it's this one. Yeah, that reopens it. And there's also this X, which would end the remote session. Oh, and revoke permissions. Yeah, that red X is actually revokes.
There'll be a pause break key on the keyboard.
Right. Okay, so that's all we have with Josh's computer today. Unless Alex or Josh has other questions while I'm connected, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect.
No, I'm fine, thank you.
All right, very good. And I'm clicking end. And then come back to the Zoom session. All right. Where are we at here? 2.5 hours. By the way, Bob Carlson said he was going to be having the live stream running in the background, but he didn't come into the Zoom session today. He asked me if I needed him to. And I said, no, I'm probably going to do a one-on-one session with him and then publish it for the rest of the setup for his computer over here, which I haven't done any work on since the last video that I uploaded about his computer.
Doug, I can get close to that, right? Well, no, we went away.
Say that again, Josh.
Okay. I think Alex will care of it, so I'm good.
Okay.
Well, someone's will care of it.
All right. I think I'm feeling about ready to wrap this live stream up, unless somebody else got some hot topic to bring up. Let's go take a look at chat, see if there's something else there to deal with. It's a different button to get to chat. Until I get it. I'm having that problem with the mouse. Oh, let me see if I can show it to you. I'm trying to move the mouse from this screen over to this screen, and it just stops right here. I got to go back and try again. It won't go.
Hey, Doug.
What?
Before you disconnect off of Zoom, I have a quick question. Hopefully it's a quick answer. Sometimes I've noticed when I'm connected with Josh on Zoom, when I connect on TeamViewer, sometimes it makes my audio quiet. Sometimes it makes the audio quieter. Why is that?
When you connect,
I know it's a TeamViewer. I know it's a TeamViewer setting, but I can't figure out where the setting is because as soon as I disconnect, if I still have Zoom running, it will the audio will get a whole lot louder.
And the Zoom session, is that just between you and Josh?
Open fine, yeah.
Yes.
All right.
But I don't think that matters. I don't think it matters who is actually in the I'm just saying if I have Zoom running and then I connect TeamViewer, when I have TeamViewer running and I have TeamViewer open, the audio for the Zoom will be quieter through my speakers. But as soon as I disconnect the TeamViewer and get off, it will go back to normal.
So you said it might be a simple answer. Here's the simple answer. I don't have a clue.
It's not a big deal. It's just something I've noticed.
Yeah, the first thing my mind was turning to is, does TeamViewer have some audio chat capability? I'm not.
Yes, it does.
It does.
Yes.
Have you disabled that?
I've tried to, but I don't know if the issue is because of my computer, setting on my computer TeamViewer, or on Josh's computer.
I think you should disable it on both if you're going to be relying on Zoom for audio.
Have you tried the Zoom audio settings?
I have not.
It has a volume control there for your microphone and for your hearings, speakers.
Can I say something?
Yes, Catherine.
In Windows, in sound, there is in the microphone, check it, there is an option where you can say, for example, when Skype or something like that is running, go 20 or 80% lower in volume. Did you check it?
I don't exactly know what you're referring to, Edwin.
I'm looking here to see if I can bring it up on screen. I'm going to try bringing it up on screen over here. And Catherine, you can watch this to check me. And I know there's a delay. So let's go here. Let's minimize everything. So I'm going to press the Windows key and type sound, and then click on sound settings. And then in here, there is, let's see, I just had it. Advanced sound options. I'm thinking it may be in here. There's a place where you can allow different apps on your computer to have access to the microphone.
So I checked in Windows in sound, yes, and I have playback, recording, sounds, and communications.
Oh, you're talking about the old-fashioned control panel sound.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you can get.
And in communications, you can say mute all other sounds, reduce the volume of other sounds by 80 or by 50, or do nothing. So you have 4 options, and it might be worse to check it on your PC and to check it on Josh's PC too. Yes? So you can have both the correct settings.
Oh, here it is. Reduce the volume of other sounds by 80%.
Yeah. Yes.
When Windows detects communications activity. This sounds like a good one. Windows can automatically adjust the volume of different sounds when you are using your PC to place or receive telephone calls. When Windows detects communications activity, reduce the volume of other sounds by 80%. So I'm thinking you should choose do nothing on both computers.
Yes, exactly. So
yeah,
this might be the better option. And then you have it as you want it, and then Windows is not interfering with anything.
All right.
I have my laptop filled with my Humid, and the desktop that I'm going to be getting rid of because Jimmy's building me a much better desktop than what I have. I have that one connected up to my Alexa. So any audio that comes through the HP, it automatically comes into my Humid, but makes it a whole lot easier to hear. But sometimes when I'm on Zoom and I don't use the Dell with a Zoom because it's not capable of doing that. but I have the desktop connected to the Alexa and the unit connected to the laptop.
Okay, that doesn't sound like that makes any difference to what Catherine has pointed us to. That still you ought to try this do nothing. Alex, do you understand that?
Yes.
All right.
Have you guys checked those Zoom mute? If you unmute, the next one up is audio settings. That has volume control.
Yes, I would first change the windows before you to do nothing, before you change anything else.
Yeah, but they didn't say it wasn't working with Ken's Zoom, except just when they're together.
Well, the volume problem happened when he made.
It's an issue when I connect on TeamViewer, but as soon as I disconnect from TeamViewer on anybody's computer, not just Josh's, the audio goes back to normal.
So if Catherine's solution is correct, then I think what that implies is that Windows is detecting the TeamViewer connection as a telephone call, which we know it's not a telephone call, but it's quite possible that Windows is incorrectly perceiving it and treating it as a telephone call, and therefore reducing your volume to 80% or by 80%, whichever that was. But then I'm in agreement. Try Catherine's solution first, and then Gary's suggestion about Zoom audio settings. And I'm taking a quick look here at this one. Where's this advanced sound options and app volume and device?
Oh, by the way, I just opened up the TeamViewer and the audio options, audio conferencing options in the settings menu, and I wasn't even connected to his computer, and it still did the same thing, still lowered my volume. So yes, Catherine's solution sounds like it will probably work.
Oh, okay. So you just tried the Zoom method, that didn't work. Now, when you say it lowers your volume, does that mean it lowers what you're hearing from Josh, or lowers?
It lowers the Zoom. It lowers the Zoom volume that I'm hearing from y'all right now, or from Josh if just me and Josh are connected.
Okay, so it lowers it. It makes it harder for you to hear, but Josh is okay. Correct. It doesn't change.
Josh is okay as far as I know. He hasn't said anything.
Okay.
He's good. It just lowers the volume for me.
All right. Yeah, that's kind of sounding like Catherine's solution, because
yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
My computer is set on the communications thing. My computer is set to reduce volume by 80, and so I'm going to change it to do nothing and see if that
sounds good.
Have you tried your help desk or help screen?
Try that again, Gary.
Has anybody looked at TeamViewer to see if they have any help on that?
That fixed it, Gary. It fixed it.
Oh, you're confirmed. It's fixed. Because
Thank you, Catherine.
You just connected to Josh's computer and your Zoom volume.
No, I just opened up the TeamViewer settings and it was doing the same thing as if I was connected to Josh's computer. And I opened after changing the setting that Catherine recommended, I opened the TeamViewer audio settings back up, and it's no longer happening.
All right, very good. Let me get a pin here. Hang on a second. I gotta make this note. Catherine 1. There we go. All right.
It's a tough room.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
All right. So somebody just said, "Hey, Doug," I think.
That was me.
Josh.
When Jim gets my new computer built, and when I get it all configured the way I like it, then it'd be easier for me to click on that icon rather than putting that code in. Can you put that same stuff up on the new build, please?
Oh, certainly. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's something that several of the people have kind of bonded together to help Josh with a new computer, and that's one of the things happening over on Ken's channel. And bravo to you guys for how you're doing that. Really thrilled and proud of you for what you're doing there. Anyway, moving on. Anything else before we end this? I was trying to get back over to chat to see if I need to catch up on anything. Let's bring back this computer and get the screen number 2. Scroll up a little bit. Who's that? Somebody's dinging me on my phone. Looking for oranges. Yeah, so I saw those 2. Did I read that right? Yeah, that's from. All right. Sam, here's a website shows the correct email settings Apple thinks you should choose if it is not set up automatically. Okay, good. Great to know that you found that. I'm not going to go there because I'm trying to wind this down, but thanks for letting us know that you found that. Scanning. Winter mute. Is it because your browser is full screen? Try to move the cursor between screens with all the windows minimized, or move all windows away from the edge of the screen. Okay. Well, no, because it works when all the screens are maximized. Sometimes it goes across, the cursor goes across smoothly. Sometimes it doesn't. But I catch your point that maybe there's something different. So I'll pay closer attention to that. But I've had this chat window maximized the whole time. And that's where I last demonstrated the problem to you. And right now it's not a problem. I can go across fine. Scanning to help resolve Alex's sound. It's already some other solutions offered, but it's been fixed. Oh, Bill, I saw you ask earlier about me playing Fortnite. Yes, I play Fortnite, and I only started in mid-December, and the reason why I did is because my grandson, Braden, is into Fortnite, and I thought it might be fun to try to connect with him. And last Sunday, yeah, it was Sunday.
How we doing, Doug?
Pardon?
How is what you been doing?
Oh, he's good. He's good. Thank you. Well, let me finish the story before I shortcut it. So he came over here Sunday, and I had him on that side of my desk, and he was using Baby Beast, and I was playing on Big Beast. And first they asked me to, my daughter and my grandson, they watched me play a game. He was impressed at how much progress that I had made since December. That was fun. And then we played a team of duos, and we played some other things. He runs circles around me, but he's respectful. I mean, I felt good about where I was at with it. And since then, we've played a couple times online where we have audio communications with each other while we're playing. So that was a lot of fun. And that was a whole. I haven't been into any games at all. The only reason was to connect with him around that, and he's 8 years old.
You played solitaire for 20 years. I know that.
Let's see. Bill says new game Lost Ark. Yeah, I'm probably not going to explore around too much. I am actually enjoying Fortnite on my own. So let's put an end to this. Thank you all for participating in the chat room and in the Zoom session. And for those of you who watched the video afterwards,
it's always a pleasure, both.
Say again, Josh?
It's always a pleasure.
Oh, yes. And pleasure is mine. I enjoy all of you. And if I get my stuff together this week, or to get this place set up the way I want it, then I'm going to start putting out more videos. But I'm still between my business and between trying to get this place, this new studio set up the way I want it. Taking a lot of time.
Doug, if you want to go far away, I'd come over and help. But
Oh,
all the way in California.
you know what? I think probably Tim Sal will be willing to come over because he is local to me. But no, this is a one person. I could not have another person in this space while I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do this stuff. And a lot of this stuff needs to be spread out over time because I'll get a call from a client or something. So yeah. All right. So here we go. Say goodbye, everybody. I'm going to end the Zoom session. Then I'll do a little sign off and display my email, all that kind of riffraff. And
Good night, Mary Ellen. Good night, Jim Bob.
good night.
Boy.
Good night, Jim.
This is the time
Bye-bye.
for you to say goodbye on Zoom.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
All right. Then over to the Zoom meeting window, and here's end for all. Hasta luego or hasta whatever. Oops, I got to punch this button to bring me back up. There, with the email address. Is the email address going to actually pop up? There it is. That was delayed. I don't know what that was about. For those who didn't notice, I'm not on the ball today. I'm sitting in a real chair, not sitting on the ball. Add the email address if you want to request support. I provide free support to anyone. You don't have to be already known to the community. And that support can be through a live stream or so that people in the chat room and the Zoom session can participate, or it can be a one-on-one support session that I record and then I will publish later. In order to do that, you have to come in to the Zoom session with your camera on, because that's part of what makes the content worthwhile. Now, occasionally you'll see me do a session with somebody with their without their camera, but it's somebody who has been on camera before, and we're just trying to get something fixed quickly. I've got videos that I've wanted to make recently about issues that I've come across with client, things that I think are really useful to put out, but until I can push a button and start recording, I've got to finish getting this place set up. So anyway, that's it. Thank you for being here. Oh, thank you for the financial support. There was a couple at the beginning. I did say thank yous to them. I don't think there was more that came in. I don't think I even have oh, there's the studio. Does that show me anything more? In total, $3.99. All right. There we go. Catch you another time. Have a great day. See ya. Bye.